tricks, and so much more. Be the buyer that's wise and smart. Rolling in style, you're off to a start. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Got a question? Ask away. Nate and Mike got things to say. Guest drop in with insights to share. They'll guide you with their expert flair. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secrets shared with care. Hit the road with confidence to spare. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Got a question? Ask away. Nate and Mike got things to say. Guests drop in with insights to share. They'll guide you with their expert flair. Stories flow, insights unfold. Stay ahead, drive bold and cold. Mohawk secrets shared with care. Hit the road with confidence to spare. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice. Mohawk Table Talk, come join the ride. The podcast that's got you auto supplied. From deals to trends and buying advice, we'll make car shopping extra nice.
Where's the one you way up? We are so glad you're here. Tune in Tuesdays, don't be late. Nate and Mike got info great. Local auto news you need to hear. Ready to shift your knowledge gear. They're the pros from the dealer's floor, with tips and tricks and so much more. Be the buyer that's wise and smart. Rolling in style, you're off to a start.
Do we need to
think-
do we need to
Oh,
mention
there's the
what we were
audio.
just mentioning before?
I think so.
I think we do.
Okay,
So
well,
take
we're
two.
back. Here we go.
This is what you get with live
Live
podcasting.
podcasting.
So if
Well-
you just saw our lips moving for the last 100 seconds, we'll repeat
Good
it.
news is, producer caught it in the background. We are here. It's Mohawk Table Talk, February 4th, 2025. And we are talking about buying a vehicle all online. Remember the days when buying a vehicle meant going into the car dealership for hours, talking, looking, getting all of those manual
Those brochures, right? The printed things. Yeah.
the printed things where you would look through, make sure it had everything you wanted. But now you could buy a vehicle in 20 minutes. But how did we get here? And would you trust buying a vehicle online only
Without driving it,
without driving
without
it?
seeing it in person.
Yeah. That's what we're going
but-
to talk about
Yeah,
today.
some people do. And just to kind of end what our little folly there for the last couple minutes, it is the couple days after Groundhog's Day. It's almost like we just did this a few seconds
I feel like we just
ago.
talked about
Did we
this.
just wait?
Is this Groundhog
Did you ever
Day?
have deja vu? Didn't you just ask me that? Wait. So
Did the
anyway,
groundhog see his shadow? I don't even know. That's supposed to happen. He did.
he did.
He saw his shadow.
Oh boy. Yeah. So that's
Oh,
we haven't
great.
even got to well, that's more than local news. That's national news. But again, for the maybe second or third time, welcome to Mohawk Table Talk. I'm Mike. This is Nate. We're bringing to you the latest and the greatest from the car business. And our topic for today, of course, is buying a vehicle online. Completely online.
Yep.
But there's a reason why we brought this up, and it's
There is.
certainly of interest to me and the two of us and Mohawk Auto Group is. You know that Amazon now sells cars online? I mean, they sell everything else, right?
Amazon Autos is now a thing as of, I believe, December or November 2024.
It is. And I have it up on my screen, and anybody can pull it up. Just about everybody has some type of Amazon account, right? And if all you have to do is kind of sit in your living room, if you live in an area where there's a lot of houses, and you just see Amazon trucks drive by multiple times a day,
Always.
everybody is kind of a consumer of some type of Amazon
Are
product.
you an Amazon addict? Would you
That's-
like to talk about
Is that a
it?
real thing? I bet you that's a real thing.
I'm going to coin it if it's not. Amazon
It is.
addict.
Well, considering the fact that you can, obviously you could get books, right? And maybe I'm the only one that still orders books
I mean,
through Amazon.
I
That's
order
where
a
it
lot
started.
of books. Yep, that's,
that's
how
where
it
it started.
I mean, I'm an Amazon addict. If my packages don't come within 2 days, I'm like, why is my package not here from every other company, you know?
How could I possibly wait 3 days for my package to get here?
5 to 7 business days, straight out.
So
We out.
So that it is such a thing as the Amazon culture, and Amazon, of course, is a great company. There's never been anything like it before. There's the revenue that's generated by their company and the services that it provide to everyday people for a lot of conveniences too, right? There are a lot of folks who maybe are in areas where going to the store to get everyday groceries, maybe not perishable stuff, but like dry goods, right?
Yeah.
You can just order it from Amazon and you hit that like repeat thing, right?
Subscribe and save.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
I
and
know.
You hit the repeat
It's like
thing.
I do that. It's weird.
How often do you want that shampoo? Do you need it every month, every week? Like, what do you
Well,
need?
You know, if it's a guy, it's probably like every 6 months.
Right. And the shampoo is
I'm
multi-use.
speaking from experience.
That's right. We can use it to wash the car and clean the floor and everything, right? No, I'm
Yep.
just kidding. But, thinking about how that company developed, and we don't necessarily want to talk about that, but what we do want to talk about is the availability that they now have Amazon Autos. As I'm looking at it on my screen, it is in big letters, says it's a beta, right? Which
Yep.
we all know is in an infancy.
Test phase.
That's right, a test phase, but it's a live test phase,
Right.
Right. So it's live and people can use it.
Just
Did
like Fortnite beta. It's always a beta.
Fortnite beta. Okay. Why we have comments from the producing crew behind us. But back to Amazon. I mean, we can get into the nitty gritty of what they have. It's a stupendous platform, and I'm sure it's going to be developed even further compared to what it is now. But I'll tell you, buying a car on Amazon is exactly like buying a book on Amazon or buying
it's weird.
shoes
It's
or
wild.
wherever. So
I have to sign in to begin my purchase.
Yeah, that's true. In our radio silence there for the first couple minutes, Nate was asking, would you buy a vehicle completely online?
I mean, that's the real question. Are you going to buy a vehicle that you're not going to see, touch, taste, or smell?
And it doesn't only have to be Amazon, but now that Amazon has the platform,
Right.
it's certainly, if somebody wasn't aware that you could do that, because there are a lot of avenues to do that. There are a lot of dealerships that can do that.
I believe we can do that.
We can do that, and people have done it. But if it wasn't on the top of your mind, when it's on the front, it's on the front screen of Amazon, it's
Yeah.
all of a sudden on the front of everybody's
right.
mind. Now, since we're on that topic, we'll just kind of continue.
Continue.
As of now, Amazon Autos is featuring just new Hyundai product,
That's it.
right? And we don't sell new Hyundais. We sell new Hondas and new Chevrolets, and new commercial. But certainly nothing bad here at all. Hyundai product is the only one offered on Amazon. Of course, it's the test. So if anything, congratulations to Hyundai for taking on being that
guinea
that
pig.
pioneer. Yeah, a guinea pig, that pioneer, and being the first one in the pool, whatever you want to call it. And so it's kind of interesting. And I'll just kind of run down some specifics. And I'm sure if you haven't heard of this before or haven't looked at it before, you might after you watch this podcast and
Yep.
check it out
Or listen to it.
Absolutely. So Amazon is kind of that information website. There is, however, the transaction that somebody would make if they wanted to use the Amazon website to purchase a vehicle. You actually purchase that new Hyundai from a Hyundai dealership.
Yes.
Right? So you don't send Amazon your money. You send the dealership your money. You
Ah.
don't finance with Amazon. You finance with Hyundai Motor Corp. And Amazon doesn't have a warehouse somewhere where they're keeping all these new Hyundais. The Hyundais are kept on the dealer lot.
Could you imagine? That might be the next step.
It is.
They just
It is.
buy them from the dealers.
That's possible.
Who
You
knows?
You never know. You never know. And so just to clarify, it's not exactly like a third-party advertising site like everybody's heard of, maybe Cars.com or Auto Trader.
Edmunds,
It is
all those
Edmunds,
fun
all
ones.
those. It is similar in the fact that the Amazon website is advertising the vehicles and the pricing, but when you decide to buy and you say, that's the one for me, here's my money, it doesn't go to Auto Trader or Cars.com or Edmunds or Amazon. It goes to the dealer because the dealer is the one that has possession of the vehicle and so forth. However, I will point out what it does. It does kind of, everything is arranged ahead of time.
Right.
So if you're looking the same as I'm looking, the price is ranged ahead of time. If you're considering doing partial payments, whether it's financing or leasing, that's arranged ahead of time. So there doesn't need to be that step of talking to your local dealer and deciding or so forth. So you decide in your living room what format you want to do. And the question is that I have for everybody and for Nate is, do you think that that's a good thing? Do you think it's a good thing that you've decided as the consumer just to buy the vehicle one way without other options? I guess it could be, right? It could be good. It could, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's always more than one way to buy something. Maybe you try it out and then you figure out if you like it or not. I mean, that's kind of they do give you a 3-day worry-free exchange. I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah. I looked at
but
that briefly too.
It's non-returnable upon pickup at the dealership, but it's eligible for
An
3-day in exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, exchange programs are good. I mean, that's great for peace of mind. It's better than not having it.
Yeah.
Just kind of being on the logistics side of some vehicle deals. Keep in mind if somebody paid for the car outright in cash, makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, if somebody was approved and obtained financing, there's a lot of logistics there because then you have another party involved. You have
Right.
a bank or a leasing company involved, and the title to the vehicle may go to the leasing. It can be a little bit cumbersome.
Right.
And the only reason I bring that up, and this is just food for thought. Again, Amazon is a great product, and I think certainly see the way to the future of buying vehicles online like this. I'd have this as just a rhetorical question though: is it for everybody? Is it for everybody?
I don't think so.
It may not be.
I don't think it's for everybody.
Or it may be. There certainly are some folks that know. Let's just talk about a pair of shoes, right? There's certainly some folks like me that when I decide what kind of shoes I want, I get them. I love them. I don't have any second guesses, and maybe I'm just that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just that type of person. However, there are a lot of people that buy those shoes and they go, well, they don't exactly look like I thought they looked. Well, they don't feel exactly like I thought they'd feel, or whatever.
If I'm buying
and maybe wanna
online, I
change
do
it.
that. I'm that guy. You know, if it's not exactly what I thought it was, and typically if I'm buying shoes, I'm not buying them from Amazon unless they're like a decorative shoe or something like that.
Okay.
That's the only time I've actually bought. But if I'm going to do like any running or it intense walking,
Or maybe if you've bought them before.
or if I know the brand
That right. So that's a good point.
and I bought them before, I already know what I'm buying for the most
That's-
part. I know the size. I know the exact size that I need. And,
yeah. Okay. That's
you know,
a that's
so
a re-
I'm-
that's
I
a
would
really
be
good
okay
point.
with that.
So if we're you know, so let's say you're a Honda owner,
Mhm.
and we speak with folks all the time, very loyal Honda people that have had 2, 3, 4 Honda CRVs in a row,
Right.
and that's just what they like. It just fits their lifestyle, and you know, they have a 2022 right now, right? And the new ones out are 2025s as of now, and that may fit them like those pair of shoes, that brand that you love.
Yeah.
And maybe it fits them, and there's not really any issue at all. So I guess
think
that's
it goes
possible.
between. I think it would be going between refreshes and redesigns, because I think that if you're like the CRV buyers and anybody out there that's buying a vehicle, right? The models change, the way they look, the way they
That's
feel,
true.
the way they drive, and where they move things. So a lot of times, like for instance, the old CRVs, different turn dials, different infotainment systems. So when it comes to the refresh and redesign, you might want to go into the dealership beforehand to kind of see like, oh, maybe this may not be the vehicle that I want ahead of time. But once you get that, every couple of years or so, I think it'd be good to buy that model.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. And sometimes with redesigns, you know, especially with Honda, where I'm a little biased, I think they always make some great decisions, but to each their own. So, for example, you might buy a vehicle, regardless of the brand, and own that vehicle, and then think you want the new version of that vehicle, but maybe they've changed something comfort-wise, right? Like seats,
Yep.
right?
Seats
We
change.
speak with folks a lot, and we still, even though we're talking about buying a car 100% online, we speak with folks every day that love to come to the dealership, because sitting in that new vehicle is a big deal, and I understand why. It's just like trying on shoes. Right, shoe stores still exist because people want to go and they want to feel them on their feet, and you know, no matter what their reviews are, they still have to work for you.
Right.
So somebody may come in and try that new CRV and say, "Wow, these seats maybe are designed a little bit differently than what I thought they were," and maybe they love it, or maybe it's time to look at something different. Right? Maybe they look at a Passport or an HRV or something different, because maybe that comfort, depending on somebody's you know, body type or what they're doing with the vehicle. Maybe they drive a lot, and that is almost more important than the type of stereo system or the color or whatever. So you know, maybe that's a good point in terms of why somebody may want to, you know, check the vehicles out ahead of time. You know, just to be the devil's advocate, because the last thing you'd want to do, right, is buy that vehicle online, and like you just read, can't return it. And all of a sudden you just spent all this money. It's a lot of money. All the cars are a lot of money. And then it doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
Then what do you do?
Then you got to exchange it for something else.
Oh, that could be.
And that gets dicey, I feel.
yeah. And it's
'Cause
not
there's a
that it's not possible, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of time,
it-
right? You don't want to do this to spend more time doing this.
Right.
You want to spend less time.
Right, and it's not like just changing the pair of shoes that you like. It's not just the wrong size, right? There's a lot of paperwork that goes into owning and operating a vehicle, especially when you're buying it. Change of insurance, license plate, DMV stuff, all these
Yeah. A lot of
intricacies
things.
that come together. So like yes, being able to buy it all online is nice, but there's a lot of back end paperwork that has to get filled out. And if there is an issue, then it's just I feel like it will actually double the amount of stuff you
could.
have to do.
It could end up being like a second job, so to speak, right? And nobody wants that.
No.
You know, you may want the new vehicle, but you don't want to make it something that's, you know, that's a burden to your
Right.
time, and you have stuff to do, right? You got to go to work, you have your family and all that stuff. So I would just point out something else. And I think probably for the majority, it works really well. Whether it's using Amazon that I'm looking at here, or you're using any 100% online buying process, whether it's with Mohawk Auto Group or others, we certainly offer remote or unseen trade appraisals, right? You have that car that you'd like to trade. A lot of folks do that. You're probably not keeping that car also, but you'd like to trade the vehicle. And obviously trade value is very important because that has to do with how much you're going to spend total on that new vehicle or whatever. There also could be a loan balance. So there's a lot of things that you'd want to consider there. I would mention this. When you use an online buying system, the majority of the time, and I haven't seen this otherwise, you're dealing just through a website, right? So there's not a Mike or a Nate on the other end of the phone smiling at you.
Hey.
There's not that. So you're mainly dealing with a website, which certainly has its benefits. But what you couldn't do is if you're maybe somebody that took exceptional care of your car and maybe you made some additions and maybe you did some upgrades and you put those really nice tires on that we recommended, things that cost you extra money, the websites just use your year, make, model, vehicle number, mileage, and they kind of give you an average number as far as a trade value, where to a dealer or to somebody like me or Nate, we really value those folks who take care of their vehicles that might just vault that into the above average category. So who knows? It's possible that in-person correspondence and transaction could possibly benefit some people, but not for everybody. But for certainly, that's just I'm just kind of throwing out some thought.
I mean, that's definitely the thing is like, if you're only running it as a website provider and versus, where a dealership has the staff to appropriately contact you and answer any questions you have based on what you've done, especially exactly what Mike was talking about, because we're an actual part of the community, right? We're a part of your community and we want to make things work. Whereas the website is zeros and ones and has been set up to be efficient, yes, but it's not going to be a human being. And there is pros and cons to all of that. And you as the consumer have to talk to yourself and wonder what's more important to you. And I think that it's a great tool to figure out and research and get really close to exactly what you want. That way, when you come in, because we talk about on this podcast, making you an educated buyer, because we know educated buyers are the best buyers. They know exactly what they want, and they are fair and average, fair with their average number assessment and things like that. So we can come to terms more quickly than the person who hasn't researched anything and thinks my car is worth $5 million when it's only worth $2 million.
That's exactly right. So certainly, I mean, I know our objective is just to kind of put these kind of thought-provoking statements and this idea of buying a vehicle online. It's not going to go away, and we're going to continue talking about it for sure. We certainly have seen an increase. And kind of to go back, this is probably 10 minutes ago statement, but as far as how did we get here? Right. Nate actually asked that, and I never answered it. But how did we get here? We all remember COVID. Right, 2020, and just a hair before, we don't want to talk about it. However, what had happened at that time, we all remember that social distancing and a lot of businesses were closed just because we didn't want that human contact. And at that time, the only way for somebody to buy a vehicle was to do it remotely. Yeah. Right? So people were sitting in their living rooms, and we were sitting at the dealership. The dealership doors were locked because, of course, we wouldn't want to get anybody sick or anything like that. And that's where it started. So a lot of these tools that dealerships use now kind of were vaulted ahead a little bit faster than what we had anticipated. And that online buying of a vehicle was a thing. It immediately was a thing. So if people wanted to buy vehicles that month that the COVID alerts started and so forth, or the next month or those 6 months, you had to buy it virtually online. Virtually and online. That's the way you had to do it. So that's where it started. And what happened was, between all the software partners that we use at our dealerships and everybody uses around the world, the solutions were abundant all of a sudden for us to be able to do something as simple as make online buying available on our websites. And if you haven't seen, I'm sure everybody's been on our websites, but MohawkHonda.com, MohawkChevrolet.com, we have an online ability for you to not just shop, but also select and go as far in the buying process as you'd like, including up to delivery with certain restrictions. But
Yeah.
We have that tool, and that's been in place for the number of years, and we're coming up on what, 5 years since COVID? Maybe not
Yeah.
post-COVID, but 5 years since the beginning. So this is not new technology by any
No.
means, but it'll be interesting to see. What do you think? You think we're going to see more Amazons? We're going to more companies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out like, there's no like major. I think the thing about Amazon partnering with Hyundai is that it'd be like Walmart partnering with somebody.
Okay.
right? Like that major company that is been everything else for everybody has added one more thing to their repertoire, and that's like everybody's on Amazon, like we talked about. The Amazon Addict, right? It's just a huge platform to be like, hey, we're now going to sell cars and be this cars platform for you. Whereas before, it's always been a cars.com and Auto Trader. We're specifically talking about used vehicles for the most part, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, those mostly were used. You're right. Exactly.
And now Amazon's coming out like, hey, we're actually just doing new cars right now. And you're like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually interesting that they're doing that, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to guess, kind of logic would tell me, because new vehicles are a little bit more predictable, right? Like like pricing, and you don't have
Yeah.
you don't have any variance with condition of
Yeah,
the vehicle.
I think that's one of the
maybe.
big things about it, because we also have Carvana. Carvana and Vroom came out,
Yep.
and they're like, we're used car dealers, pretty essentially, that are mass scale. You can buy everything online,
Yep.
and we'll bring it to you. And a big concern about that is the quality issue of the vehicle. Is how are they reconditioning the vehicle? When I get it, am I going to get a bunch of different problems? And I think that's a big thing. Whereas if you're just selling new vehicles, that quality assurance is built in by the manufacturer and you have that warranty. Whereas the used vehicle typically doesn't have that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And with used vehicles, or I guess maybe with new, really what Nate's talking about is somebody's expectations, right?
Right.
Everybody's expectations are a little bit different.
Especially on used vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had lunch yet. Have you had lunch yet?
No, I haven't.
Well,
looked
if
yet.
Nate and I order lunch after this, and we get the same we gonna order subs? All right. Anyway, we get the same sandwich.
LaJoy's is the best around here.
That is. It's very good. Shout out. I might love it, and Nate might just like it, right?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. So same product, but one person might love it, and the other one, maybe they like it okay, but it's maybe not a
Right.
10 out of 10. Maybe it's only a 9 out of 10.
Right.
Those sandwiches, though, are probably going to be a 10 out of 10.
Those sandwiches are
They're
always
making me
10.
hungry talking about it. So it'll be super interesting to see where this goes. Kind of to sprinkle in, we haven't talked in this whole talk about online purchasing. We didn't mention Tesla.
We didn't. We did not mention
and
that yet.
We I don't think we've gone an episode yet without talking about EVs.
Yeah, we definitely have not.
Tesla, of course, is on the forefront.
And here we
of
are
EV.
talking
There we
about
are.
EVs.
And we're getting somewhere. We're going the long trail here. We're going around the mountain. But Tesla certainly is on the forefront. They still sell the majority of EVs in terms of their brand compared to the rest. There are a lot more competitors. We're talking about that. We're seeing the market
Coming
share
up.
get close to 10% here coming this year.
Coming up.
However, their transactions are all online,
Yeah.
right? Their transactions are all online. What I do know also as a used car guy, there are a lot of Teslas on the used vehicle market.
There is.
There are.
Okay.
Well, they sell a lot, so there are a lot out
Of
there.
course.
So the question is, and this I certainly don't know the answer to this, are there a lot of used Teslas on the market because people tried it and maybe then went to a non-Tesla, traded it in, sold it? I don't know. I don't know all that answer. I don't know if anybody knows.
Good question.
Or maybe they just loved it so much, they just wanted to get the latest and greatest,
There's that.
right? That new
What
phone.
was the program
It's like
that they
iPhone,
gave?
right? The new phone comes out and somebody says, "Ooh, I just got the last one, but I want the next one."
Yeah.
So
it's got
it
a
could be
better processor and camera.
That
Yay.
Yeah, 3 self-summoning, parking, or whatever.
Better.
That's right. So yeah. But huge shout out to Tesla. I mean, they were on the forefront. And when we're talking about Amazon and online purchasing, Amazon probably did some research and
Oh, I'm
found
sure.
out how Tesla did it so well. Because I haven't heard and haven't seen any reviews that said any logistics were an issue with Tesla. When people ordered a Tesla, you got the Tesla that you ordered.
That's it.
And expectations seem to have been there.
And again, new car.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's interesting, and as it goes to, hey, bet you didn't know segment.
Oh, boy, here
I
we
always
go.
have to add this in a little bit. Did you know, and also shout out to Paul and Kyle and the guys at ASOTU, Automotive Student of the Union, because they brought this up and I was just like intrigued. I went back and asked and read it a few times. So you hear there's a football game this weekend, right? Super Bowl,
There's the big game.
the big game this weekend.
We can't say it or we'll get
That's right.
a cease and desist.
Well, it's a big game this weekend.
The big game.
And I know you probably know this, but airtime for commercials on that.
$8 million.
Oh yeah, just messed up my hey, you didn't know. $8 million. But do you know what they were last year, just 1 year ago?
$7.3 million.
It was almost 7.5 million. So an increase of $500,000. This is for a 30-second spot, by the way.
Oh, yep.
30-second spot.
Sounds about right.
And I think it was Paul who had cited, did anybody in the room know in the first Super Bowl that was televised how much it was
Ooh.
for a commercial?
$100.
Comparatively. All right, wasn't quite that. So we're at $8 million in 2025, and the first televised Super Bowl that offered commercials, a 30-second commercial with $37,000. Wow, I don't know. Do you consider that inflation, or is that just like?
I mean,
was that
inflation
black and
carried
white
the
back
one,
then?
and
Was that black and white? I don't
yeah.
even know what they were advertising.
It was definitely black and white.
Maybe they advertised. What do they call it? The horse and buggy.
The horse and buggy.
Yeah.
No, because television definitely wasn't out in 1919. That's for sure.
Right. Well, they still probably had them. Anyway, we'll be interested to see what auto manufacturers are going to participate in this $8 million buy-in.
Well, here's the
on
thing,
the big
right?
game here this weekend.
And this is the thing about Super Bowl. Super Bowl is that one time that people are actually anticipating a commercial. It's an ad that everyone's anticipating because we have loved them every single time because companies get out of their corporate skin and they make something funny. And we're all like, yo, did you see that commercial?
And they go over the top, right?
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
this is like, well, for $8 million, you better go over the top.
Yeah, right.
So, but they go over the top, and
well, that's just to put it on there. That's not the
right,
cost.
not the production.
That's not the budget production cost.
maybe this team here could whip one together.
Yeah.
For $8 million.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Nate's right, and the expectations. There are people that watch the big game just to watch the commercials.
Of course.
So it's like the opposite.
That was me.
It's the opposite. When they're playing the game, you get that snack and that drink, and then the commercials are on.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like, the one that I remember last year was the Reese's when they're like, we're gonna change the Reese's, and they're like, no, we're gonna put a pretzel in it. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to a few. I don't remember them all, but E-Trade is on there. They always have one. I don't know if we're allowed to mention this stuff, but we're doing it anyway. And also Doritos. But
Doritos always got a good one.
Yeah. There are some good ones. So, we changed from talking about Amazon. I don't know if Amazon's going to have a commercial on there, but
I don't think they need it.
Yeah, we're mentioning a lot of brand names here.
Temu.
Yeah,
we
it's
have a prediction that Temu will be on the Super Bowl.
All right. I'll be interested to read this
Temu's
out
trying.
in a week from today, a couple days after the game, and just see what everybody's thoughts are, and see if there were any we'll see if there were any online buying platforms for cars in this commercial set. So it'll be interesting. But I had to throw that in there. It's only a few days away from the big game, so we figured we'd mention that, and it's somewhat related to the new way to buy cars. We'll see what the new way to advertise cars are during the big game.
We will. And we want to know if you are watching the big game this Sunday, favorite commercials, automotive related, and we'll see who wins.
Yep. And we're also on a car related topic, if there's any positives or negatives that you can think of, which you know what, you love us, so you certainly be gentle. But any positives or negatives about buying a car at a dealership and coming to the dealership and doing the test drive and all that stuff, as compared to maybe buying online.
Yeah,
and that's probably a big variety of answers to that.
Yeah, we want to know in the comments below your positives and negatives about buying all online versus coming into the dealership. And what do you do with that?
Yeah.
What are you doing with your purchasing opportunity?
Yeah. Everybody's got to be a little different. And we'll certainly touch on this topic again, because this isn't a one and done. I mean, this is ongoing. So we'll continue to revisit through the year. I expect see a lot of changes this year, which is going to be exciting.
Yes, it will. Well, We did it.
We did it. We hit a lot of mic talking this time, but
Mic talking.
that's right.
Well, the mic talk was a mic drop. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. This is Mohawk Table Talk, February 4th, 2025. Again, we want you to give us your opinion. What do you think? Would you buy a car 100% online? Let us know your thoughts by commenting on this video and on our social pages. Thank you so much for watching. And Mike and I, we're signing off. We'll see you next time
See you next
on
week.
Mohawk Table Talk.